Hello, hello. Are we live? Yes, we are. Hello, good evening, dear viewer. Been a while. Couple days, almost a week now. And we're in between streams. This is Paper to Code. It's a series I started summer with the sole aim of, training my programming muscles. Short introduction, one sentence. A series about learning and implementing interesting stuff I find on the internet. From research papers, from articles, from YouTube tutorials, whatever. And I try to stream my progress. This is currently a mono repo, right? The past couple of streams I worked on Conway's Game of Life. Here. Not really. But yeah, as I said, the past couple of streams we made Conway's Game of Life. That was pretty interesting. Had to make a grid, but as the LNC makes it up. Then the next stream was cleaning the code up. We changed our framework a bit. First, a very naive way of handling updates and frames and whatever. So we went to towards a more traditional game loop type of setup, where we have an update function, a fixed update function, render function, and everything gets timed. So our fixed update actually just updates 60 times a second. Our update is uncapped, keeps updating. And then we render, right? And we also went and updated a bit of our grid code and abstracted that away in grid helper class. And here we are at stream 2.5, what I call it, in between stream, because here I'm gonna tell you guys what I did between streams, because I was saying that I was going to work on the container. So I improved the grid class, is in size though. Here. So I improved the grid class. I added a couple of operator overloads. I handled the errors a bit better, better error messages, and added begin and end functions that return a type of iterator for ranged for loop support, to make our lives a bit easier. About this, the for loop support, currently what it does is we just return the iterator of our backing vector, right? Let me show the code here. Here. So what we do is we have our begin and end functions, or const versions of them as well. And all it does is it returns the iterator of backing m data vector, which is just vector of t, which is fine, right, for just ranged for loop supports. But what we could do in next stream another time is create a proxy struct, create a separate iterator specifically for the grid that returns a proxy data structure, right? Cell proxy or whatever, which contains the x and y positions and the value of t for that specific cell at x and y. That could be useful because currently just iterating with a range-based for loop over the grid, we lose our I and J or X and Y that we are like when we're looping over. So a range-based for loop currently is just mostly useful just to loop over every cell, right? And you don't exactly have your X and Y of the cell that you're currently iterating over. You lose that data. So if you still need that data with the current setup, you have to go back at the for loop inside of a for loop to have your X and Y row and column. But yeah, we have it, and we can expand on it some other. Here, operator overloads, the square brackets overloaded with just X and Y, right? Square brackets as if you're just trying to index an array. But here, a note, pretty important, the subscript operator, that's the name for these square brackets, using multiple arguments here, X and Y, that's a C++23 feature, which makes it a bit iffy, right? C++23, while most compilers are pretty up to date with the newer C++ features, it's good to remember that this is pretty recent, right? So just to have another option, we still have the add functions. Implemented those last stream. Here with hide some helper functionality that I added. Index, private function to get the index of row and column when you give it. Because what we're currently doing is we have a single vector, right? Before our first implementation, it used a 2D array, which was fine for our purposes at the time. Currently what we are doing is we have a single array that we are indexing as if it were 2D. And here to make stuff a bit more appealing and like give us more information when anything goes wrong or we do something wrong, we have a cool error message that says the grid index that was passed to this function is out of range and the maximum range is calculated. And if it's not out of range, we get correct index. Anything else that I have to catch you guys up to? We have a fill function, right? That's quite self-explanatory, I think. Just say I want to fill the grid value of t, and we just fill our backing vector with that value. Also, we have a fill constructor, right? If we want our grid to start with a certain value, we can just give that the initial value, and we have a grid that is filled with said initial value. It contains, right, just to check. And yeah, that's pretty simple, but this is our current grid. What else? Back. Yes, a couple bug fixes because last stream we had some confusion about rows and columns, right? Way too deep the code side of things without really thinking about stuff, which is my mistake. So fix those. I replaced the arrays that I had with class. Here I added a Clang format, right? I'm using Clang my compiler and D and stuff. So I added a Clang format file to make it easier to auto format the code to my liking. And I published the code of last stream on my GitHub. Yeah, that's I think everything. Also a git ignore. We don't want to load everything code. Yeah, that's all I have to share. Now, the plans for this stream. First, what I want to do is I want to update my project structure, which I think is going to be the whole topic of this stream, because we are now growing out of our basic game of life thing, and I don't really want to keep remaking the same stuff over and over again, the same project structure. So I want to have a modular build system, right, that I can use in here. And when building, I want to be able to just select a target to build, and that's the target that gets built. What we could also do with this reformatted or like restructured project is build everything at once, have like a whole library of small projects built, and yeah, it's just gonna make our lives a bit easier, I think. So how do I want to approach that? The thing I want to do is, if here I want to write my thoughts down. So first things first, we're going to move everything into a targets folder. This targets folder is going to contain a CMake list, right? CMake file plus source plus resources if we need those for that specific example or like project. By resources I mean images, sounds, whatever, right? Fonts. That's like for each target. Is going to contain that. If I can. Then next thing, we need to restructure our root CMake list. Updated, because the root CMake list file that is going to include the subfolders, right? It's going to go into the targets folder, and also I need to add options to the root CMake list file to specify whether or not I want this target to be built. The options are going to be on by default, and if ever we want to exclude a target, we can just pass that in to our build, right, our config build commands. To include targets, options, yeah. Then we are going to well, yeah, move the files, right? Move these files, and if we move those, then it's going to be pretty easy to add new stuff. We could even add like some automation, right? We could make a Python script that adds a new target with all the correct stuff. We could make CMake functions to do stuff for us. But yeah, I think that's a good starting plan, and we'll see how everything works. Oh well. This. Okay. Should be 2. Okay, so let's break stuff and let's fix stuff. First off, here we want a targets folder. Right? Then again, a new folder there, or well, the name of the target, which our case is Conway's life. In there, we need a source folder, right? Okay, and then I think we could just delete this folder and move that there. Right. In here, we make this .t file. What else? No resources were used, so fine. Then we are going to get this, that, right? Oh. I am going to put here. And then in here, I'm just going to say this. Right. If I save this, right? So we have a project defined in the root CMake lists, right? Just a bit more evident, right? We are setting just project-wide variables. In here, we are including fetch content, right? We are going to fetch stuff. We add an executable, which makes a target, right? It's in the source. Root directories, again, source. Could make like an include folder as well. If we ever need that, we are linking SDL. And here we are getting DLs, the SDL DLL, and we are copying that over to the build directory of this target, right? The last thing that we actually have to do is include targets and we get error. Include requested file is a directory. Okay. Does this have to be a string or something? Should be fine, right? No? File or module? Oh wait, it's include subdirectory. No? Here, add subdirectory. Okay, our run command, is that going to work? I think it should. Right here. Call run. Okay, it's building. And it runs, right? I can start. Everything seems fine. Our build directory looks like this. I want a subfolder in the bin with the name of the targets, right? Just to have, well, just to not have everything just jumbled up in one binary folder. Let's see, what's the variable for a target name? CMake variables, right? If I go and search for targets, target framework identifier, target framework version, not Windows, no. Ink libraries only target. No. Search. Find. Well, what we could do is if I go back here, right, what it was for. The target properties, right, I am going to this, right, and I am going to add it in here. Last thing. So we are setting properties on a specific target. You could make a variable, right? Target's name, and we can call that this. And everywhere where we use target's name, we do that. And in here, we can then say dollar sign. There it is. Will this work? I am skeptical, but well, I have to include add subdirectory is targets dash ads. Let's see if that works. Cannot find targets. do I have to do like what's this called? String replacement stuff. The name maybe? Might be. Let's try. Let's target file there. Target team. And we again. And it worked. All right. So if I run now. Okay. Fine. And ooh. Cool. Well, it created the folder with the correct name, but our executable has the wrong name. So I think we have to like this. See. Might not work, but we will have to get it out. This. Can I put something that in here? I hope so. And in here as well. Okay. And we run again. Then works. Yeah, okay. So we have done what we want to do. Right. Everything here. Right, even the bin file folder. And I am going to run again. So this is going to build everything more. Targets. And something broke. Your bin file. Okay, so I can. And there it is. Right. So, just to recap, what we just did is we took our single CMake list file, which contained everything, to build a single target, this case was Conway's Game of Life. We split that up into two different CMake list files. A root file, which sets up the project with some additional information and CMake required stuff, and to something that only knows about a single target, right? Our source files live under a subfolder specific to the target. Everything about it lives here, right? So when we ever want to work one single thing, we only have to be concerned with files that are target. In here, it takes in its own dependencies, right? It requests those, it fetches those itself. It makes them available, right? We have we define a target name, which is a variable in here. We say here we are creating the targets by adding it as an executable with all of the source files it needs. Then we have our include directories. We say our targets, here are your include directories. This is where you can include from. We are linking libraries to it, the SDL3 library. And we have a custom command, which is a post-build command, right after having built the target, the executable. What we do is we copy the target file, SDL3, this is the DLL, to wherever our target lives, right? Okay. The only thing now is our run.bat script. That one is complaining about the fact that we have hard-coded thing in here, right? We have a hard-coded path to an executable, which we have just changed in here. So a bit naive, but it works for our purposes, right? Is there some way we can save a target? We could pass a target name each time because it always follows the same pattern, right? We clear our screen, we set our configure command, right? Here we build it inside of build folder. Well, we take our configuration files from the build folder, build those, and we run whatever lives in build bin, and then target name.exe. So not sure how to take in a, let's see, bad script variables. Oh yeah, okay, so percent and then a number, right? If I say percent 1 and %1.exe and 1.exe, this, and I run my script with the name of a target. This should then get replaced in here, and it should run correctly, I think. Plan. And exactly. So we've made our lives a bit simpler now. Well, simpler on the one hand, a bit more complicated on the other, right? So each time we now run our run script, we have to provide a target, well, a target name. And because all of our targets follow the same structure, which makes our lives a bit easier, uh, this is possible, right? Because whatever target name we give it, that is going to be used as the folder name, which CMake generates for us, and the name of the executable itself, again, CMake creates. It would be nice if there was some way of like the last used target to be remembered, but that might be overcome. But yeah, okay. What's next? I guess next would be again creating a new target, right? Phantom something. And in there we follow the same pattern, of course, and we need to have a test folder, file, in which we do some stuff, right? We are going to add the executable. Well, let's go back to how we did it in here, because this is the template, right? Including SDL, you do it like this, which fine now. But we always have to set this directories, all fine and dandy, right? We set a target name, which would be them, right? What else? We do not have to copy our SD because we're not that in currently. And well, setting target properties, just like so. Each time we create a new target, all we have to do is right. And if we have to modify some target settings, we can change these points of interest. Name of the executable is same as target name. If we have some extra stuff like class implementations that aren't headers or whatever, right, we can do that here. Include directories there, and we say where it's to live. But, so in our source, if I now create a new file, and I say print domain, I think this is how you do these, right? The new types of they're called functions. Include is not used directly. Yeah, sure. Print run. None. Hello world. Turn 8. This here is a new, yes, modern functions. Right. Will this work? Not sure. We just close up life. And I can say I want to run Ansem. Well, no, I can't say that because I have not included this subdirectory. Directory. Target Ansem. Okay. And if I now go terminal, Ansem, see what's going to happen. Okay. So I say that I want to build Sansim, right? And Conway's Game of Life also get. We include it, right? So makes sense that it gets built. If I say option, right? How do options work in CMake? Option variable help text value. Okay. So they build life. Whether added gets built. And what's its default value? If I say on, then nothing changes, right? Even if I say that I want to build Ansem, this is going to get included, so I am going to say all false, right? Now I'm going to just copy this and say well, let me just, I need to be consistent with naming and capitalization. Can do this, and then I guess do ifs, right? Yeah, okay. So if builds this, we add indentation, then we can end if here, and if build Ansem indentation and if. So this okay. So now if I go in here, right? I can say my build command here, and then that's the option, the build and underscore %1, and I set that to on. Do I have to put like an equal sign? Let's check. Up. Also, question. Which CMake command do I give this to? To the actual building command, like the build command, or I think to the config command? Options. How do you do this? Adding command line options, right? Yeah, I think I have to take this away from actual building. Right. And I have to put like an equals. And I save this, right? And I go to terminal. And I run this. And it ran. And now what if I now say I want to build Home-based game of life? Okay, weird. Wait. Is it because... Well, let me just say what the error is. Well, not the error, but I have now in my mind, I was aiming to do was I was trying to take in the argument we give to the run command, the run script, which is the name of the target, right? We've already used it to run the executable of the target automatically, but I do not want the other targets that are in this repo to keep getting built when I only am interested in one, right? So I have tried to isolate or build commands, right, or adding of the subdirectory by implementing options for each target, and they're off by default, right? So if they are off by default and I just run this, nothing is going to happen. I have to pass my target name, and I have to pass this option to my I guess my configure command, which is what I try it in here. So what I do is I am configuring, right, into the build folder, and my source is at the root, CMake list, and I'm saying I want the target name that I specify as a variable to be on, right? So that option is going to be on. Now, I think like what happened was I built my Sansim, right? If I go back in here I have now written that I want to run the Sansim, right? And if I press enter, see what happens. Yeah, okay. So the correct executable gets run. That's fine. The issue is this option, I think, gets cached, right? Make options cached. Yeah, so okay, so this Stack Overflow post is saying that stuff gets cached, right? That options get cached, so I have to each time delete the cache. Okay, so how do I... Because I don't want my options to get cached, right? Because this is each time I run something else, I don't want the previous run command to affect the next one. So CMake clear cache command line. There is a CMake target clean and then also a clean first. You can add the fresh flag when running CMake configuration. Okay, so fresh it seems. CMake dash added in version 3.24. Perform a fresh configuration of the build tree. This removes any existing CMake cache.txt file and associated CMake files directory, and recreates them from scratch. Changed in version 3.30 for dependencies previously populated by fetch content with the new setting for policy. CMP0168, their stamp and script files from any previous run will be removed. The download, update, and patch steps will therefore be forced to re-execute. Okay. So let's see. Wait. CMake. So CMake dash fresh and build and source with a CMake option. pause. What's happening now? Okay, it's doing really fresh. Well, this. Okay, it takes a while. Run it again. It takes a while again. Yeah. Maybe our approach is not the best. Especially not a teammate. What could we do? Also, wait. Seems like this fresh has done some damage to what setup. I was using 64. Yeah. So let me just delete this. And try and run again, because what I'm noticing now is it seems like this fresh has reverted to using MSVC, which is not exactly what I was looking for. So try that again. Still using MSVC. Okay, bin, and it puts it inside of debug because it's using MSVC, that I was looking for. Why is it doing what it's doing? Let's select the kits, scan for them. Because the issue with MSVC is it creates this extra folder. Also, it's not exactly what I want, right? I don't want PDB files, I don't want to use MSVC for thing I'm building. I now go and select the kit in here. So, right. Remake, it has set its build type to debug, okay. For compile commands, sure. Compiler, file path. Okay. And it's going to use mingw make files. It's fine. So if I now go into my terminal and I run, save this. Okay. So I run my CMake build commands. Okay. For some reason it didn't switch its build time. See how much faster that was, right? Also, it has now created this debug folder, which but yeah, it seems like using options is not the way to go. Maybe it is the way to go, but then I have to can I, like, inside of CMake can I reset all options there? Then I'm going to reset the option I pass. Yeah. This is not a nice problem to have. CMake options resets. I don't know. I keep getting Stack Overflow answers that like refer me to the GUI of CMake, but okay. Yeah, I'm reading blog posts from 2022 and stuff. This is something we will look at some other time, right? Because it works, kinda. It's like a sticky options, right? Each time I say I want to build different thing, well, delete cache, make and reconfigure. What does target clean? Clean first. Well, like, there was this fresh, right? That's what we tried. Fresh, not what we. So we make clean. Yeah, but what does cleaning a target mean in this context? So, like, let me read this, right? So there is this build, right here, right? Build. It says build targets, but like in quotes, clean first, and then build. That's what it's supposed to mean. And then in parentheses it says to clean only, use -- targets, and then clean. Well, that's not exactly what I want, I think. So because Fresh changed the kit that I was using, right? It changed my compiler settings and stuff. So I don't want something that deep going, but I do want to change, like remove the memory it has of any previous options that I gave it. And I'm not sure how to exactly do that. What does like delete cache and reconfigure, like which command does? No clue. Add. Okay, well, in any case, this was a bit of a shorter stream, an hour, 10 minutes, seems like. But if we have to recap, we have we start off with a recap of what I did in between streams. Then we went on to to restructure the project into a root CMake list file, this one, which we use to include other targets, and a targets folder which contains different targets, and this one will grow each new topic or like research paper we try to implement. This has websites, right? It makes sure that everything that we are doing stays together neat, and it makes it easier for me. I don't have to keep shuffling around code or like recreate some stuff every time. But as we have seen, it also introduces some hiccups inherent to CMake. One such hiccup is the fact that options are sticky, right? And they are not, well, they persist between CMake configurations, configurants, which I am going to try and find a solution to in between streams. If not, then we might have something different. Maybe we use some different, I don't know, make a Python script or whatever, right? I don't know. We could do a lot of stuff. But this is where I'm going to leave you guys. This was Axiom, and next stream we'll start looking into sand simulations. For that, a small preview. Let me just give a little bit of spoiler. We'll be looking at some Noita related stuff, some actual research papers, try to understand those, and build up an intuition for, falling sand, I guess, from scratch and from those, right? But yeah, thanks. Have a good evening, and see you next time.